It was a time of emerging awareness of environmental issues. And there was no broad-based conservation organization that was located in New York concerning just New York City. That's changed. That skyline has changed forever. We had a meeting at Pace University, just interested people, and I guess a half a dozen people showed up to this first meeting, and I was one of them. So we set about to organize a chapter. So what we wanted to do is be able to bring to the public's attention environmental issues and to have some input on decisions that affected public spaces. You know, we have a lot of parks in New York City. There's a lot of acreage that's devoted to it. These were neglected areas. They weren't policed, they weren't staffed, and so they were junkyards in some cases. And we sort of reawakened the government's obligations to maintain these spaces and to make them safe and hospitable to humans and other creatures. The chapter's presence and existence has to be taken into account. If we didn't do it, these things would never be achieved.
There's something about birds that helps New Yorkers connect with nature in a way that nothing else quite does. You can see birds in every part of the city.
The history of New York City Audubon goes back almost 30 years to the discovery of the Harbor Herons, which is wading birds breeding in New York City. In 1980, Scotty Jenkins discovered a colony of long-legged wading birds on Prall's Island, a landmass in the Arthur Kill, which is a waterway between Staten Island and New Jersey. What we needed to do basically was figure out what was there and protect the place where they were. But today we find Harbor Herons breeding on 14 islands throughout New York City, in the East River, the Western Long Island Sound, Jamaica Bay, and off the coast of Staten Island. Nearly 30 years of data, of population information, that is incredible. You don't find that anywhere. And the data are collected the same way year after year after year. And that is such a valuable resource to managers and scientists. We are still fighting to protect the rich foraging grounds on Staten Island where we find Harbor Herons. So the northern shore of Staten Island, Arlington Cove Marsh, all these areas are really, really important to the future of the herons and the egrets and the ibises in the region.
With Project Safe Flight, we monitor the buildings for bird collisions, rescue injured birds. We also try to improve the stopover habitat for the birds as they rest up on their way. And we also sponsor Lights Out New York. Project Safe Flight Lights Out New York is a program where we ask all of New York to turn out their lights, especially the building owners and managers, from midnight till dawn, spring and fall migration. We started this program 5 years ago, and we had about 6 buildings. Now we have over 60.
I would say this is a very easy program for any building manager or owner to participate in, because not only are you helping migratory birds, but you're also saving energy. We have 9 commercial office properties. We've asked that all of our buildings participate in the Lights Out program, which means if we have any lights that light the exterior floodlights on the building, we turn them out at midnight, and we let the tenants know to turn the lights off, darkening the night skyline for the birds, and everybody wants to save a bird.
Birds navigate through a set of cues that they have, through the moon and the stars, and the lights tend to throw them off, and they can circle for hours and get disoriented. An estimated 90,000 birds are killed in New York alone by collision with windows and buildings. By reducing the light, we are helping their chances of making it.
The relationship between shorebirds and horseshoe crab is one well established. So we were interested in looking at what the effects would be of cleaning beaches that are important for horseshoe crabs and shorebirds. Horseshoe crab spawning really coincides with the peak of shorebird migration. And so while they're coming ashore to lay their eggs at this time, the shorebirds are coming through and are really depleted in their energy and fat stores because they've flown from as far away as southern South America and are heading toward the Arctic to their breeding grounds. And so it's really important for them to have this resource to feed on as they're heading northward. And we've tried to reach out to audiences that we haven't typically involved in our conservation work. And this year we were reaching out to the deaf and hard of hearing community. So the trainings that I've done have been interpreted for the deaf, and we have interpreters out here on the beach.
Deaf people are cut off from communication a lot, and they don't often have opportunities like this.
I want to learn more about the horseshoe crabs because honestly, I've never seen one. I'd never heard of one before. So I went to your training and I learned about it.
I would love to get every New Yorker, it'd be a bit crowded, but I would love to get every New Yorker out here to see this.
I'm just not mindful that I had that much importance in the beginning of this thing. It doesn't occur to me that it's very significant. It's in the past and it's done. The more important thing is to keep it going in the future. That's much more of interest to me than looking on past accomplishments.
Climate change and continued urban development will pose challenges for New York City's birds in the coming decades. The work that we've done over the last 30 years has prepared us to meet those challenges. And with your help, New York City Audubon is well equipped to deal with these issues.